Today we're going to take a closer look at TSMC. Yes, this is going to be another semiconductor episode. Some of you might be wondering, Jose, why don't you talk about something else? Well, I really enjoy the semis. More importantly, with TSMC, I want to take a closer look at recent reports of its competitor, Samsung. Some investors might be worried that Samsung might be doing better than TSMC at the moment. And even if that's true, I want to explain why I personally as an investor am not worried. And if this is your first time here, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, check out the pinned comment for free Discord, free links, and also my tech channel. So let's get started.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
Today seems to be a pretty good day. TSMC is up about 1.1%, but unfortunately, right, if we take a closer look at that 52-week high, the stock is down roughly 37.7%. Currently sitting at a market cap of 432 billion and a dividend yield of 2.1. So a quick background on TSM. This is a company that manufactures chips for companies like AMD, NVDA, and so much more. So when it comes to the manufacturing process, there's actually not many companies that do this. The one with the biggest market share is actually TSMC. In the full year of 2021, TSMC held roughly 53% of the market share of the foundry business. Number two comes Samsung with 18%. So we can definitely see there is a huge difference between number one and number two. I do own number one. I do not own number two. And before we go any further, I actually want to explain a little bit of Taiwan's kind of nodes that they're working with and currently have at the moment. We can see from their most recent revenue, one of the biggest revenue source is the 7nm source, and that's 30% of total revenue. And if you purchased a computer, I want to say in the past year or so, most of the chips inside those computers are probably running in 7nm. For example, AMD's 4000 series and 5000 series Ryzen CPUs are actually running on 7nm. NVIDIA, their 3000 series lines are also being run on TSMC 7nm. So the current advanced technology right now is running on 7nm. And you might be saying, Jose, if that's the current advanced technology, why is 5nm currently making 21% of total revenue? And that 5nm is actually the next generation that hopefully we should see this upcoming fall, if not early 2023. For example, NVIDIA's 4000 line is actually going to be running in TSMC's 5nm, and AMD's upcoming Ryzen 7000 is going to be using that same 5nm as well. And the reason TSMC is making so much money from the 5nm is because the companies like AMD and NVIDIA are right now kind of racking up inventory when they release these new products that are going to be in the 5nm. So now that we understand some of these cool products that are being used in the 7nm and the 5nm, now we can talk about the next level. And the next level is going to be the 3nm. Right now we can see that the 3nm has no effect in total revenue for TSMC, and that should be changing soon. But some investors might be worried because there are reports like this. Samsung's first batch of 3nm chips to chip out on July 25th. Orders for mobile system on chips are expected to arrive later. And the report mentions that Samsung will officially beat TSMC in bringing these 3nm chips to productions. So some investors might be saying, oh no, this is bad news for TSMC, because if Samsung is getting this technology first, then maybe some of its customers are going to go to kind of Samsung instead. Outside of contracts that probably these customers have with their customers, there is another reason why I wouldn't worry too much, because at the moment the location where these 3nm chips are being produced is the place where only small scale of production can be made. So if only a small scale production could be made, let's say I was a phone company, I don't care if you kind of hit the 3nm first, but if you can only send me, for example, 10 chips instead of the 100 chips that I need, there's no point in me doing business for you, because I don't want to hurt my product in the long term of things. And TSMC is not too far behind. For example, in their most recent earnings, they mentioned that their N3, this is their code name for 3nm, is on track for volume production in the second half of this year with good yield. And they expect revenue contribution to start in the first half of 2023. So even though they are going to start mass producing, and that's the important thing, they are mass producing. It's not going to be small quantities, it's going to be mass productions for their customers. Even though they are producing in the second half of 2022, it does take time for these kind of wafers to go to their customers to kind of get all the testing and everything done, that they're not going to see revenue recognition until the first half of 2023. So if I am an investor, the first thing I want to remember is that, hey, in the upcoming quarters, even if the 3 nanometer is already in mass production, it doesn't mean that revenue is going to be impacted. So yes, Samsung might actually be winning in kind of producing it first, but the real winner is going to be who can mass produce it first. And I think right now it could be anybody's game, and I do believe both are ramping up at similar times. Even if Samsung hits maybe first place a few weeks earlier, I don't think it would kind of destroy the relationship that TSMC and their customers. Maybe if they reached the 3 nanometer a year earlier or even half a year earlier, then maybe I would be worried. This is also another article that might have some TSMC investors worried if one just looks at the headlines, right? Samsung plans to invest $200 billion in Texas for 11 new semiconductor fabrication plants. So you might be saying, oh wow, this is a company that's going to invest a lot of money here in the United States to build new plants, and they might start to take market share from TSMC. First, I live in the United States and I do love this country, so I do want to say it's awesome to kind of see the manufacturing of the chips come here in the United States. I think it's very, very important, but I do want to say I don't think it's gonna impact TSMC too much, and let me explain why. First, this plan is aimed to build 11 new semiconductor facilities within 2 decades, with the earliest of them being projected for operation in 2034. Others would only come online towards 2042. So again, if you're looking at the headlines, you might be kind of worried that, hey, this might be bad news for TSMC. But again, digging a little bit deeper, you're going to see that these chip plants, if they do come to fruition, it's not going to be anytime soon. So at the moment, I'm still very bullish in TSMC, and I'm still very bullish in the semiconductor market. If you are a semiconductor investor, make sure to check out this video. I kind of talk about 3 key points that are very important for the market right now that we have learned through the past earnings. And also, if you want to learn some of the stocks that I'm planning on buying this week, make sure to check out this video as well. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.